Let's talk about the new Companies Act. More than 250 provisions of the Companies Act will come into force from the 1st of April. Stringent rules for related party transactions, limits on subsidiaries are expected to make life a little tough for corporate India. Avantika Gode is standing by with some of those concerns. I'm also joined by Yogesh Sharma from Grant Thornton. Avantika, you go first. Tell us what the concerns really are.
Well, Harsha, as you mentioned, the Companies Act does come into force come April 1st. India Inc. has a daunting task because do remember, come April 1st, all companies will have to be compliant with the provisions of the new Companies Act. Some of the concerns, as you mentioned, one is, of course, the limitations on the levels of subsidiaries that companies can have. The limit has been settled at just 2. If you look at the way companies function today, most holding companies have various subsidiaries under them. That's really how they move funds, how they organize business. Second, of course, is the question on minority shareholder approval for all transactions that are not at arm's length or not in the normal course of business. This again, of course, great news for minority shareholders, but again, a big hurdle for companies on how really they will be carrying out business from here. Of course, there are other stringent rules on auditors, on how independent directors are to be maintained on the board. All those changes are something India Inc. will have to prep themselves up for. Of course, now the announcement of the application of Companies Act comes just 4 days before the end of the financial year. So this is also going to be another issue for corporate India. How are they going to really brave themselves, and how are they going to come and ensure that all further actions by these companies are in fact compliant with the new Companies Act? Back to you.
Avantika, thank you for that. Yogesh Sharma from Grant Thornton now joins us on this conversation. Thank you for joining us, Yogesh. Take me through some of these concerns that Avantika points out. Are there difficulties in implementation? Are there difficulties in compliance?
Sure. First of all, as Grant Thornton, we welcome all steps taken by the ministry to make this law a reality. But there are, I think, as I agree that there are quite a few concerns with respect to implementation of this law. I think there are 3-4 key ones to talk about. One is, first of all, the timing itself. There are just 5 days left to ensure compliance of several sections which have become or have been notified recently. That's going to be a huge task. Second one is availability of the infrastructure to implement these sections. Some of these sections really require, for example, adequate number of directors or independent directors to be there, adequate number of auditors, audit firms to be in existence for making sure that some of these sections are actually complied with. Similarly, third, I think, will be an implementation challenge is the continuous confusion caused by existence of both 1956 Act as well as the new Companies Act.
Sure.
And there is a lot of interaction between the two. My ministry has been trying to clarify quite a few of those provisions, but still, as both acts are existing, it continues to cause confusion. And fourth, I also think that there is a lot of implementation guidance which is yet to be issued, including rules which have not been issued. I think few have been issued this morning,
right,
but large part of the rules have not been issued. And as you know that this act is mostly rule-based. Without having the right implementation guidance, with 4 days left to comply,
right,
it's going to be a huge challenge.
So Yogesh, tell me, what are you telling your clients?
Back to you, Harsh.
This is obviously a process where a phase of transition. What are you telling your clients right now? Is it wait and watch? Are you seeking clarity? What's going on?
The time for wait and watch is gone, Harsha. I think the time is to act as quickly as possible. Again, rules are continuously getting issued. I'm sure within the next 2-3 days, most of the rules will be issued. Some of the corporates, and which we had advised, had already started doing their gap analysis on where they stand as compared to what the new requirements are. And some of the corporates have already started acting, but the time is just to start working on it as soon as possible. And I think that's what our advice is.
Any other, what other needs to be notified, Yogesh? While you made the point about rules that have just been put in place for certain sections, are you waiting for some more of it to be notified? Any areas of clarity that's required?
So I think, Harsha, there are 2 types of clarifications which are required, and some of that, for example, Avantika highlighted, which is the clarity in the sections itself. For example, clarity in the meaning of what is arm's length, or what is the meaning of ordinary course of business, or how the related party section itself has to be implemented. So, for example, related parties themselves cannot vote in approving the related party transactions. Now the section is not clear on how this will operate when you have a wholly owned subsidiary. When the parent is the main shareholder and is related, how would you approve a transaction in this situation? So that's one part of the clarification which is required, which is clarity in the section itself, or the wordings of the section. The second part is you need the guidance. There are a lot of provisions which are which may have a huge impact. For example, let's say implementation of internal financial controls by the corporates, that these financial controls are adequately designed and are operating effectively. Some of these sections are already, for example, applicable in some of the Western countries, let's say famous SOX 404 in the US.
Right.
But which is backed by thousands of pages of guidance there, and has been implemented in phases. I think SOX 404 was implemented over a phase of 3 to 4 years. Here we need to make sure that compliance is there within a year now, without having an adequate guidance. So for example, Institute of Chartered Accountants has to issue guidance for auditors to be able to certify internal financial controls. Similarly, for example, fraud reporting by auditors, which requires within a short period of time, if auditor gets to know about a fraud, has to be reported to central government. Again, this requires a huge guidance. What's the real timing? When can be issued? What all needs to be submitted, documented, sent. I think so basically, as I said, there are two types of clarifications required. Section wording clarification. Second is the implementation guidance to support how these sections will be applied.
Yogesh, we'll leave it there. I suppose this calls for another conversation when we get some of those clarity. Thanks indeed for your time. That's the view from Grant Thornton on the new companies bill that kicks off from the 1st of April, that puts the curtains on the 1956 law. Up next, we're going to be talking about the currency. Neeraj Gambhir of Nomura will join us on the other side. Where is